West Coast Davengers. West Coast Davengers.
There's only one mantra that you all need to know. That's that one over there. See Todd, bye Todd.
Welcome back to another episode of the West Coast Davengers. Before we get started, I want to say thank you for joining me. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. You really have nothing to lose except for maybe some time, and you'll enjoy yourself doing so. My podcast is coming back for its second season, Direct Edition. You can find the links for that down below. It's available on every streaming service. As well, I got a new website, westcoastdavengers.com. It's the one stop for everything you need about finding me. And finally, newly released, The Many Faces of Jack Kirby, a collaboration between my friend Andrew Post and myself. We self-published this zine about the faces that Jack Kirby drew. And it's a little tribute to the king, a tribute to the physical aspect of a comic book. And we're donating a portion of the proceeds for every one we sell to the Jack Kirby Museum and Research Center. You can message me on my website to order a copy. And appreciate it if you do, and if you already did. All right, let's get to it. The comic book and cartoon strip original art market has blown up over the last decade or so. A lot of that is in part due to the monster that is Heritage Auction. But we're not going to talk about Heritage Auctions today. No. We're going to take a trip back in time to 1974, Russ Cochran's Graphic Gallery. This is an original art catalog that he published to sell original art to people around the country, maybe even around the world. So what I'm going to do, taking a page from my favorite and your favorite comics podcast, Cartoonist Kayfabe, I'm going to give myself $2,200 in 1974 money. So 50 years ago, $2,200 would be about $10,000 now. And since I've never spent $10,000 on an original piece, even though I tried once, well, I'm going to do that today. But back then, in 1974, 50 years ago. On the cover, we have one of the legendary Carl Barks oil paintings of Scrooge McDuck. On the back cover, we also have another one. Both of these were available for bidding, but they were not straight sale. So I'm not going to include those because I would bid the minimum on both of those. The McDuck of Duckburg, this painting, the minimum bid's $1,000. The one on the back, Season to be Jolly, was $2,000. The one on the back is bigger, but they are both beautiful, and they are part of those legendary 100-something paintings that Carl Barks did of Scrooge that kind of like defined his career after the comics. Now, Russ Cochran, I don't know a ton about him in detail. I just know that besides this, he was the one that published the EC reprint hardcovers that we've seen throughout the years in those beautiful box sets. And, it's considered the best representation of those pre-code books. So Cochran was also putting this catalog out. He was the owner of Graphic Gallery. He was the starter, and he was a big art collector and seller. I didn't read all of this, and I will, but we're not here to read. We're here to see and then spend, in quotes. But look at these great pictures of Frank Frazetta and Carl Barks, and I guess that must be his wife. Frazetta was a very serious man, but also apparently very friendly. And I know Barks was also very friendly. Obviously, not so serious. He looks like everybody's favorite grandpa. But there is heavy amounts of Frazetta and Barks in here. So, let's get to it. Starting off with some Disney Studio animation drawings. Pretty cool. Not something that I would be interested in. Now, I obviously know that there's certain pieces in here that I could spend that 50 years later would be worth 400 times what I paid, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to buy the things that appeal to me the most, and obviously from the artists that I like. George Herriman, Crazy Cat, maybe the greatest cartoonist of all time, or cartoon strip of all time. Not something that I connect with, but something that I know about. These are 1935 and 1936, 700 each. Once again, if I was making a buy for an investment, these two would be something that would be worth buying, because right now I don't know, 10,000 each. Because I set my limit to 2,200, I cannot afford this Outlaw of Torn Frank Frazetta oil painting, but goddamn I would. But I will be buying one of these pencil drawings. One of these ink drawings, they are shown exactly 1/2 of their actual size. So this one's going to be, that big. I'm going to buy this one for $175. So Frazetta, $175 brings my money down to $2,025. All right. And I kind of wonder if this painting, Outlaw of Torn, is the inspiration, or at least the inspiration behind the name of the Metallica song off of Load, The Outlaw Torn, which is one of their best songs on that album and of that era. All right, we've got an Alex Raymond Flash Gordon piece right here. That's going to be bid. I'm not going to bid on that. It's $1,500. Two cartoons here. One is Seagar's Sapo, and then this is clearly, it's called Thimble Theater, but that's clearly Popeye. Not familiar with Seagar, even though I'm looking at his stuff right now, and I am familiar by seeing it, but not something I'm going to buy. That Alex Raymond is amazing. Here's another one that I would totally buy if it was available, but it is a bid. That's Harvey Kurtzman and Will Elder's Little Annie Fanny, and obviously Annie is voluptuously on display in every panel, even that one. Would be nice to have those, or this, and then you've got some Kurtzman Little Annie Fanny storyboard notes. Pretty cool. Not something I'm going to buy, but if I had $5,000, I would. Moon Mullins by Frank Willard. Not familiar with that, or Katie Higgins here. Pretty cool. And then you've got Sidney Smith with the Gumps, and Old Doc Yak. This one's $200, this one's $225. So if you're playing at home, just so you know the prices. Now we got some Alex Raymond. Alex Raymond, Flash, mostly known for Flash Gordon, but we've got Jungle Jim here. That is the 7th strip, it says, for $500, and then this Flash Gordon here for $650, and then pencil drawings here, which is another bid that starts at $500. Doing some figure work and face work, really cool stuff. Tarzan, obviously, you know Tarzan by Edgar Rice Burroughs, but Hal Foster on the left is the artist, and then Bern Hogarth on the right is the artist. This Hal Foster is probably one that I should buy, but it would take me to only $1,000. It's got crocodiles, it's got action. What else could you want from a Tarzan strip? And then this one by Bern Hogarth, another action strip. It's a plane crash. It's pretty cool. It's $350. I kind of want it, but I'm going to hold off. All right, we've got some more. We've got Frank Godwin and Bern Hogarth on this page, Rusty Riley at 110, and Miracle Jones at 125. Napoleon by Clifford McBride for $225. Frank Godwin, Rusty Riley for $65, and then a Donald Duck by Al Taliaferro for $75, which is pretty cool. Most of my money is going to be spent on the back end of this, but I still want to go through it. I am putting a possibility on this Will Eisner, the Spirit piece from 1940 or 41. Unfortunately, it doesn't show him with his mask on, but it's still a pretty cool Will Eisner piece. It's early also. And then on the facing page, you got Billy DeBeck with Barney Google. Don't know that character. And then somebody, N. Afonski, Little Annie Rooney, which is a pretty cool strip. But if I have $300 left over, it's going to that Will Eisner piece. And then on these, the one that really kind of stands out to me on this is the Rube Goldberg. But there's R. Dirks, Murphy Anderson, and Tad Dorgan on this page. And the Murphy Anderson's the Buck Rogers here. But the Rube Goldberg one up here is really cool for $175. It's just really weird. It's a single strip. Kind of want that, but I'm going to hold off. And then H.H. Nur, the Cats and Jammer Kids. I don't know what that is. I'm not really that versed in comic strips. Also, comic strips from when my parents were kids. This page is a killer page here. We got Alex Raymond doing Rip Kirby, the other one of the other characters he's known for. We got Al Williamson with Secret Agent Corrigan, which I think I'm going to buy that for $40. Al 40, which drops me down to 1985. So I just bought that, Secret Agent Corrigan by Al Williamson, and then Jose Salinas, Cisco Kid. On this page, we've got Ham Fisher, Joe Palooka. You know, I actually do like looking at Ham Fisher stuff. It's expensive. It's $200, but it's probably worth it. Harold Gray, Little Orphan Annie. Then we got a Milton Caniff, Steve Canyon, and an Al Capp, Little Abner. I mean, both of these are great prices. I like the Capp more than the Caniff. The Abner more than the Canyon. We got some Charles Schulz, Mr. Peanuts, but this is one that I've never heard of. It's only a game. And then you got Peanuts here, which is a great one. And then on this page, you got Cliff Sterrett, Polly and her pals. I'm going to hold off on this Schulz, and you'll see why. Because on this page, now, you're probably going to yell at me for not buying the Caniff, Terry, and the Pirates. That's because I'm going to buy the Schulz Peanuts, and it's a baseball one. Schulz for $300. So that drops me down to $16.85. Mort Walker, Beetle Bailey for $75, and the Terry and the Pirates is $200. I know I should buy these, but you'll see why I'm not going to. Two Great Mandrake the Magician full strips. You've got one from 37 by Phil Davis. That's $500, and then one from 1940, from Phil Davis with a cool swordfish piece. Very tempting to buy the swordfish one. Then we got more Bud Fisher. We've got Mutt and Jeff on this page. And Johnny Comet by Frank Frazetta. You guys have heard of him. And then Tad Dorgan for Better or Worse. This Frazetta is also tempting. But I'm going to hold off too. Check out these Roy Krenkels. Now, Krenkel, who, dates back. Obviously, these are probably from, I don't know, maybe the 40s or so. If you look at Krenkel and you look at a guy like Frazetta and you look at a guy like Graham Engels, if you mix them all together and you show that to a young Berni Wrightson, that's what his influences come from. Krenkel, you can see it. You can see it. You can feel it in some of this, just the lines here, and then the anatomy and the chaos. Like the, like Frazetta was great at anatomy, maybe the greatest. And then Wrightson would do these weird kind of, just not movement, but like this body's upside down with a leg up and a leg down. I don't know. I just see a lot of Wrightson in here, and maybe I want to. But these, same with these Krenkels. These are half size. I kind of want one, but I kind of want this too. I'm going to come back to that because this one's really tempting. Doesn't say how big it is, but probably that size or bigger. Billy DeBeck, Barney Google, and then George McManus with the spare ribs and gravy here. And then Jack Burnley Superman. I guess this is a strip, like a daily or like a newspaper strip maybe. It doesn't say what it's from. 1943. It could be from Action Comics. It could be from anything. It's $500. It's probably a steal. But then we get to Carl Barks, and we've got a Scrooge from issue 60, page 7, with all of the boys. You got Scrooge, you got Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Donald. And then you got fan favorite Beagle Boys from Uncle Scrooge, 63, page 16. This is $200. This is $300. I'm going to get the Barks for $300 because it's got everything I want. And so that brings me down to $13.85. Although the Beagle Boy strip is great too. Or page. Now, I'm buying this no matter what. Doesn't matter. It's Berni Wrightson. It just says comic book page. It's Guy with 3 arms. I think this might be from Freaks. Because it says right here, I was born with 3 arms all my life. I've been a freak. So we're going to take Berni for $125. And that gets me down to $12.60. Once again, also tempted here. You've got a Toth Darby O'Gill page. You've got a John Stanley Little Lulu cover. And then a Bob Kane Batman and Joker. I would buy this whole thing. But I'm going to stick to maybe just buying this. We're going to come back to it. Because I love this Batman piece. I don't love the Joker so much. But I do kind of think they go together. You can't just buy one. But we're not done. We got more. All right, so Clarence Gray and George McManus, Time Top and Bring You Up Father, $100 each. Roy Crane, Buzz Sawyer, which is pretty cool, and then a Walt Kelly Pogo, which is even cooler. There's 3 strips. They are $135 each, and then the Crane is $45. I like the Pogos. Now we get to pages where I don't care. Martin Branner, Winnie Winkle from 1928, way before anybody's time, that is still living in my life. Tad Dorgan, Indoor Sports, $30 each. And then Walt Scott, Captain Easy, 1947 for $45. Now, if you want, you can watch this and you can pause these and take a look at these. I'm not going to go too slow because there's a lot to look at. We got some Al Capital Abners for $35 and $45. Bill Holman, Smokey Stover. Don't know the name or the strip. And then we've got this cool Phantom by Wilson McCoy. And then another little Abner Al Cap. Tempting on the Phantom. Some cool pieces in here, especially this creature. But wait till you see, there's some stuff coming that's going to blow your head off. Tad Dorgan, For Better or Worse. Johnny Comet by Frazetta. And then Watso, Hank Shaw the Detective for $50. Once again, very tempting to buy these Frazetta strips. But you'll see why I'm not. V.T. Hamlin, Alley-Oop. With the caveman and dinosaur. Well, there's no dinosaur in this strip, but the strip and the comic would usually contain dinosaurs. But it's pretty cool. This $45, and then this one's $25. Frank Willard, Moon Mullins for $50. I wish they knew who this was, but it says Artist Unknown, Dick Tracy, English or Canadian comic book page. If it was Chester Gould, I think they would know. It's $100. It's really cool, but I'm going to pass. If it was a Gould, I'd buy it. All right, now things are going to get tricky. Simon and Kirby Young Romance page on here. And then Wallywood Love comics page right here for $100. The Wyatt Earp cover by John Severin is $50. I am buying that because it's John Severin. Severin, 50, which brings me down to $12.10. And then this really cool Fred Gardner recreation cover for Detective 24. You know, this is 3 issues before Batman appears. And Detective Comics, the history of that is just washed away. Basically, DC just wants you to think that Detective Comics started with 27 because there was a lot of fucked up stuff in these books. I really want it, but I'm not going to buy it. We've got Frank Miller and Barney Baxter strip. Not that Frank Miller, because that would mean Frank Miller currently is 84 years old and he only looks 84. 87 years old. And then Barney Baxter, 4 strips that are consecutive in sequence for $150. I kind of want the Kirby Simon. It's $100. I may come back to that. The Wallywood's great too. I know a lot of you are like, he's not buying the Kirby Simon. We've got Dick Moore's Uncle Remus and Alfred Andriola, Kerry Drake, John Cullen Murphy, Prince Valiant from 72. You want Hal Foster, Prince Valiant. Oh, that's from Bruce Hamilton in Scottsdale, Arizona. So that's not part of this. This thing's awesome. This is not part of the sales catalog, but these are like standees, like hand-cut plywood figures made by Crumb for a store in San Francisco that closed. And Terry Zwigoff is a name that I recognize. That's who is selling those. It's crazy. I mean, send cash offers. What do you offer on that in 1974? $300 each? I would. All right, now we've got some originals that aren't from this catalog. They're from Creative Services. Pat Sullivan, Felix the Cat, and Walt Disney, Al Tialaferro, Donald Duck. That Felix is really tempting. Get that and trade it to Todd McFarlane. All right, this is why I've been holding off just a bit. Because right here we have 4 Frazetta oil paintings. The high side, which I think is this one, is $1,200. Combat, 16 by 16 is $1,000. Thongor is $2,500, which I can't afford. And then Cowboys is $400. And then on this side, we got Frazetta and Wrightson drawings are half the size of what they are. God, this is so... And then this is a piece of Golden Age comic book by either Reed Crandall, Lou Fine, or question mark, depending on whose opinion you take. $50. Okay, taking the Wrightson for $75, which leaves me at $11.35. That leaves me with $11.35. Do I go with the cheapest Frazetta, or do I go with the combat one? It's really tough. All right, we're gonna go with the combat one. I'm gonna go with the combat one. That's gonna be a 16 by 16. It's $1,000. It's got some gore. It's fucking cool. So that's $1,000, and I'm left with $135 to spend. All right. So this is some movie artwork that was found in a store in Hollywood. You know, there's some names in here that I know. You know, that's Don Amici with Joan Bennett in Girl Trouble. I don't know Charles Coburn. Richard Widmark, Down at the Sea in the Ships, and then bottom right is Richard Conte in Cry of the City. Not interested in those. They are pretty cool. This whole thing's pretty cool. Buddy Ebben, June Allison, Robert Walker, Sonny Hale and Betty Hutton and McDonald Carey. Don't know any of those names. These are 1940s movie stars. I'm not that old. And then these are ordered from Bruce Hamilton, who we showed on the other page. Classics Illustrated original covers. The Whiz Comics was recreated by C.C. Beck, 19 by 24, including frame. The original is beautifully met in front, but the frame is not shown here. $4.75. I'd buy that for Eric Larson. Bugs Bunny Whitman book cover. Chick Young Blondie stuff on this on here. Still got 135, so we'll see. Or are these originals from... Okay, so this is a different person. John Stanley, Little Lulu. So it's a complete 3-page Little Lulu story for $300, and an Alvin page from Tubby Comics for $50. That Little Lulu piece would be so worth buying. Here are the 3 views of Jeff Jones' statue of Prehistoric Man. Exactly 100 of these statues have been cast in Vatican stone, which is similar in texture appearance to plaster. Oh my god, Jeffrey Jones statue for $50? Let me just see what else is over here. Okay, I'll buy a Jeffrey Jones statue. So that leaves me with $85 left to spend. These are all cool. Don't really have too much interest in them. The Big Little Book original cover art of Blondie. That's pretty cool though. $400. The Little Orphan Annie is $450. Lone Ranger is $525. Whitman original artwork, Mother Goose. Yeah, those are pretty cool. I think there's one more page here. So this just kind of goes through more publications that have popped up that are similar. Want lists and stuff like that. But why don't we go back to... I need $15. Where can I get... Can somebody lend me $15 to get the Simon and Kirby? I am going to spend the rest of this money. I'm just going to go back to some of the things that I thought maybe I should buy. Can't afford that. Okay. I'm gonna buy this Krenkel piece here for $35, which leaves me with exactly $50. Great number to have in this catalog, because there's a bunch of stuff in here for $50. I bought the Williamson, so I can't buy it again. But what I can do is I can buy the Steve Canyon piece. I'm going to get greedy. I'm going to buy another Frazetta drawing. I think there was at least one that was $50. There's this one for $50. All right, I'm going to buy this Frazetta. All right, well, there you go. So I bought 3 Frazettas. So I got this and the oil painting. I bought a Williamson. I bought a Charles Schulz. I bought a Barks page. I bought a Berni page. I bought a Severin cover. Bought a Berni illustration. A Jeffrey Catherine Jones sculpture. A Roy Krenkel piece. All for $2,200. Now, what this would be worth today? $100,000. Easy. The Frazetta painting actually is probably going to be about $50,000 to $60,000 alone. Now, you're probably talking about $200,000 in art. Honestly, but I'm not an expert in that, especially the older stuff. This was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed playing along. Hopefully this wasn't a giant fucking waste of your time. I really enjoy doing this. It's fun to collect original art. It is not cheap at all, as you might have seen in heritage auctions recently. But you start small, and then you never know. Who knows what I'm going to find in somebody's collection one day. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, all that jazz, and check out the podcast. And check out my new website and the Many Faces of Jack Kirby. But for this episode, I want to say thank you. And if you have any questions about original art, please feel free to reach out. West Coast Davengers.